new jobs and also helping to make sure that people had access to health care. And as this was all going on, they had worker training programs. So people there got trained, and they were the ones who were doing the building, and many of them started their own businesses, which is not a conversation we don't have enough about. We'll talk about getting people to work, but we won't talk about helping people to start their own businesses. And those then become anchors inside of the community. And they did a whole lot of other things in that space, but that's just one example. There are 30 or 40 examples I can go off the top of my head of people across the country are doing this, but they just don't get the attention. And then we have politicians and others who want to come up with new ideas each 4-year cycle instead of going to the things that have actually worked and could be replicated across the country. And you also saw pictures of folks who are utilizing food justice related paradigms and are helping to make sure that we have regenerative economies and helping to get people back to work and helping them to have fresh food. And you also saw farmers, and farmers now, especially farmers of color who have been traditionally losing their lands, and others have lost their land, who are now moving toward bamboo and moving toward hemp. Not cannabis, hemp, which can be made into all kinds of things it can help to replace plastics and all these other types of things. We have ways of creating jobs. We have ways of creating healthier economies, but we've got to support them and we've got to move them forward. And here's the other thing that folks should be talking to you about. And I intentionally didn't want them to go through my whole bio. I have advised White Houses, I've worked in the federal government, I've done a bunch of different things. Folks should be focusing on advanced manufacturing. We have huge opportunities for the middle parts of the country and on the Gulf Coast and in Appalachia and all these other places that we could be making sure that we are utilizing advanced manufacturing. That way we have a just transition. Because I never want to see folks demonize folks in Appalachia who worked in the coal mines for years and a culture was built around that and who want to be able to move forward into the 21st century economy. They just got to make sure that when you move, that there's actually something there. And it's not just something there where they can survive, but it's actually a job that can help to make sure that they can put their kids through college and pay the mortgage and all the things that all of us focus on. That's the type of just transition we need. And that's when people have a conversation about a Green New Deal, we got to make sure that people understand that and they're honoring that as people start to frame out this new legislation. That's how we start to develop power. And there are a number of other examples that you guys saw behind me, but I still don't think you all believe that you have power. I really don't, but we're going to find out. So, how many folks remember the Women's March? The first one. The one where a bunch of men said 1 million women will never come together and march. And sisters said, oh yeah? I got something for you. And not only did they march, but they took that energy and they took it back home. And they said, if I can't find someone who will help to protect my family, help to protect my children, will live up to the values that I think are important, I'll do it myself. And that's why when you now look on Capitol Hill and in state houses, you see this huge increase in women helping to make sure and frame out the direction of our country. That's power. But sometimes people didn't think that was power. How many folks remember the Science March? I'm surprised that we had any hands go up, but all right. So I know a bunch of scientists, and I remember when they said they were going to have the Science March, some of them called me, and they're like, Mustafa, is it okay to march? I was like, yeah, it's okay. Nobody going to get you. They're like, well, we don't usually come out our labs. And I was like, I totally get it. So the day of the march, there was some of them. I was like, come on. Can I be honest with y'all? They didn't have a whole lot of rhythm. We was like left, right. Don't worry about it, just march. But not only did they march, they took a look at our current administration, who said that science isn't real, and began to sort of move away from the basics that all of us were raised with